You won't believe what just went down in the world of sports, and Scandal fans are still reeling from this jaw-dropping revelation. Imagine this: Travis Hunter, one of the most promising young stars on the field, caught in a personal nightmare that no one saw coming. The whispers started quietly, just a few rumors here and there, but what surfaced next has left everyone completely speechless. Sources claim that Travis's own wife was not only unfaithful, but shockingly, her betrayal involved none other than his teammate. Yes, you heard that right, someone he trusts on and off the field. Someone he calls family, allegedly crossed the line in the worst possible way. Emotions ran high when the news broke. Friends are reportedly divided. Social media exploded with speculation, and the family was left in utter chaos. How could someone so close betray Travis like this? And what does this mean for his career, his marriage, and the friendships he's built over the years? Today, we're diving deep into this explosive drama, breaking down every shocking twist, heated confrontation, and scandalous secret that has fans talking non-stop. Stay with us, because the story you're about to hear will shock you, anger you, and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty and trust. The morning started like any other for Travis Hunter, or so everyone thought. The sun was barely peeking over the horizon when he received a text that would shatter everything he believed about his life. At first, he ignored it, thinking it was some harmless banter from a teammate. But the messages kept coming, each one more unsettling than the last, hinting at secrets he never imagined. He rubbed his eyes and tried to focus, but a growing sense of dread wrapped around his chest. Something was wrong, very wrong. Later that day, the team gathered for practice. Laughter and casual chatter filled the locker room, but Travis's mind was elsewhere. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that had settled deep in his bones. He noticed subtle glances between his wife and one of his teammates. Something fleeting, almost imperceptible. His heart pounded, but he tried to dismiss it. "I'm just being paranoid," he muttered under his breath. Yet every laugh that sounded too forced, every touch that lingered a fraction too long, made the pit in his stomach grow. After practice, Travi decided to confront his feelings head-on. He went home hoping to find reassurance, but what he saw made his world collapse. His wife was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, pretending nothing was wrong. But when she looked up, her eyes darted nervously, a telltale sign of guilt he couldn't ignore. "Hey, Travis," she said, her voice unusually high-pitched, almost brittle. "How was practice?" He dropped his bag by the door, his hands trembling slightly. "I need to talk to you," he said, his voice low, almost a growl. She froze, her expression slipping for just a second. "About what?" she asked, but her tone lacked conviction. Travis stepped closer, and in that moment, the silence between them became suffocating. "I know," he said simply, almost too calmly. "I know about him." Her face drained of color, and she opened her mouth, but no words came out. "I saw the messages. I know what's been going on." His heart raced, but he kept his composure. "How could you?" He whispered, more to himself than to her. The room was heavy with tension, each second stretching longer than the last. Her eyes welled up with tears, but not just from guilt. There was fear, panic, and maybe even defiance. "Travis, it's not what you think," she stammered, but Travis felt no comfort in her words. He wanted explanations, answers, the truth. "Not what I think." "You were with him," Travis said, his voice cracking with fury. "My teammate, my friend. How could you betray me like this?" His hands clenched into fists, his knuckles white. She shook her head almost desperately, as if trying to erase what had already happened. "Travis, please. It was a mistake, I swear. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything," he repeated, his voice rising. "You called destroying my trust, humiliating me in front of everyone. Didn't mean anything?" His face was flushed with anger, and for a moment, he looked ready to explode. The family dog whimpered in the corner, sensing the tension, and even that small sound seemed to echo in the room. He turned to look at her, the pain in his eyes mingling with rage. "We have a life together, a family, And you throw it all away for a fling with someone I trusted? The room was silent except for her quiet sobs. Travis's mind raced. He thought about the team, the locker room, the shared meals, the laughter they had all had together. And now it was tainted, betrayed. Every memory was suddenly laced with deception. He couldn't comprehend how this had gone unnoticed, how he had been blind. He felt a mixture of fury and heartbreak, a storm he couldn't calm. He wanted to scream, to lash out, but he also wanted to understand why. Why him? He asked finally, his voice almost breaking. Why not someone else? Why someone I called family? She looked away, unable to meet his gaze. I don't know, she whispered. It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Travis shook his head in disbelief. You didn't mean for it to go this far, he repeated. Do you have any idea what this does to me? To us? To everyone who trusts me? His chest heaved with emotion, a combination of anger, hurt, and betrayal he had never experienced before. Travis's phone buzzed with notifications. Fans and friends sending messages he couldn't bring himself to open. Social media would explode once rumors got out, and he knew it. He felt trapped between protecting his family's privacy and confronting the scandal head-on. The weight of it pressed down on him. He turned back to her. We need to talk. All of this. Now. No more lies, no more hiding, he said firmly. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Okay, Travis, I'll tell you everything. She began to recount the affair, each detail stabbing at Travis's heart like 1,000 tiny knives. It had started innocently enough, a joke here, a text there, but it escalated quickly. She explained how she felt lonely, how she had sought attention, and how she had convinced herself it was harmless. Travis listened, his fists still clenched, his jaw tight. Every word was a blow, every confession a deeper wound. He struggled to control his emotions, to not let the rage consume him entirely. As the hours passed, the conversation spiraled into heated arguments. Voices raised, doors slammed, and the family's home became a battlefield. Travis accused, she defended, tears and anger colliding in a whirlwind of emotion. How long? He demanded at one point. How long have you been lying to me? She hesitated, choking back sobs. A few months, she admitted finally. The words hit him like a freight train. Months of deception, months of betrayal, hidden in plain sight. Friends began calling, sensing something was wrong. They pleaded for Travis to stay calm, to think rationally, but he couldn't. The sense of betrayal was too strong. He wanted answers. He wanted justice. He wanted the world to acknowledge what had been done to him. He wondered what his teammate was thinking, how he could look Travis in the eyes ever again. The thought of them laughing, joking, pretending everything was normal, made his blood boil, and then came the shocking twist. As he scrolled through his wife's phone searching for proof, he found messages that suggested the betrayal might not have been one-sided. His teammate had apparently been reaching out, trying to manipulate situations, spreading rumors, even attempting to turn others on the team against Travis. The betrayal was deeper than he imagined, a tangled web of lies, deceit, and manipulation that shook him to his core at that moment. Travis realized this was more than just a personal scandal. It was about trust, loyalty, and the very foundation of his life. He had to decide what to do next: confront the teammate publicly, seek revenge, or try to salvage what was left of his family. The emotional weight was suffocating, and he felt the world closing in on him. Every thought, every memory, every plan for the future seemed tainted, as if nothing would ever be the same again by the end of that night. Travis was exhausted, emotionally drained, yet resolute. He knew he couldn't let this slide. The next steps would determine not only the future of his marriage, but also the integrity of his career and relationships. The first part of this saga ended with Travis staring out the window. Rain pouring down outside, mirroring the storm inside him. He knew that once he confronted the teammate, once the truth came out fully, nothing would ever be ordinary again. The next morning, Travis woke up with a pounding headache and a storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. Sleep had been impossible. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the messages, the fleeting glances, the betrayal etched into every moment of his marriage. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. He needed answers, and he needed them face to face. Grabbing his keys, he decided he would confront his teammate directly as he drove to the stadium. His phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts from friends, family, and even a few concerned fans demanding to know what was going on. He ignored them all. His focus was singular, finding the teammate who had shattered his trust. When he arrived at the empty locker room, he found him sitting casually on a bench, lacing his shoes, completely unaware of the storm heading his way. "Hey," the teammate said, glancing up. "Everything okay?" Travis didn't respond. He stepped closer, his eyes burning with fury. "No, everything is not okay," Travis said, his voice low, dangerous. "I know what's been going on between you and my wife." The teammate froze, a bead of sweat forming on his forehead. "Travis, it's complicated," he stammered. But Travis wasn't listening. Every word felt like a betrayal, every excuse a lie. "Complicated." Travis repeated, his voice rising. "You've been sleeping with my wife behind my back, laughing, joking with me like nothing happened. How dare you? How dare you pretend to be my friend?" The teammate tried to speak, but Travis cut him off. "Save it. I don't want your lies. I want the truth. Every detail." Now, the tension was unbearable. The walls of the locker room seemed to close in, the echoes of their voices bouncing like thunder. The teammate swallowed hard, finally admitting, "I didn't mean for it to go this far. It started as harmless flirting. We didn't think anyone would find out." Travis laughed bitterly, shaking his head. "Harmless? You call destroying my life harmless?" His fists were clenched so tight his nails dug into his palms. "Do you have any idea what this does to me, to my marriage, to my reputation?" He paused, his chest heaving. "And the worst part? I trusted you. I called you family." As the confrontation escalated, word somehow leaked that something explosive was happening at the stadium. Soon, friends, teammates, and even some media representatives began to gather outside. Fans were shocked as whispers turned into shouts. Some cheered for Travis, others jeered at the teammate, and the social media frenzy had already started. Posts, videos, and rumors spread like wildfire, painting a chaotic picture of betrayal and heartbreak. Travis's wife showed up at the stadium shortly after, her face pale, eyes red from crying. "Travis, please don't do this here," she pleaded, her voice trembling. Travis turned to her, his gaze icy. "Don't do this. This is your doing. Every choice you made led to this moment. Now you face the consequences." She sank to her knees, desperate, begging for forgiveness. But Travis was torn between anger and the remnants of love he still felt. The family was left divided, torn between loyalty, guilt, and shattered trust. The confrontation didn't end there. The teammate, cornered and panicked, made a shocking revelation. "Travis, it wasn't just her. I think someone else on the team knows, and they're trying to use it against you. This isn't just personal. It's bigger than all of us." Travis froze, disbelief written across his face. Betrayal on top of betrayal, secrets piling on secrets, making the situation almost unbearable. He realized the entire team dynamic had been compromised. He had to figure out who else was involved before this destroyed everything he had worked for. Meanwhile, the wife's phone rang incessantly. Texts from mutual friends, family members, even strangers demanding explanations. The pressure was suffocating. She looked at Travis, tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted it to get this far," she whispered. Travis's heart ached, but his anger was still raw. "Well, it did," he said quietly, "and now we deal with it, together or apart." The emotional weight of those words hung in the air, heavier than any argument, heavier than any betrayal. The next few days were a whirlwind. The media had caught wind of the story, fans were divided, and social media became a battlefield of opinions. Some supported Travis, applauding his strength and resilience. Others condemned the wife and the teammate, calling them selfish and cruel. The family's private turmoil had become public spectacle, and the pressure mounted with every passing hour. Travis tried to focus on football, but every play, every practice, reminded him of the deceit he had uncovered. Friends tried to intervene, offering advice and support, but the emotional turmoil made every conversation explosive. One friend said, "Travis, maybe you should forgive. Move on. Everyone makes mistakes." Travis slammed his hand on the table. Mistakes. This is not a mistake. This is betrayal. This is lying, manipulating, and destroying someone you claim to love. He couldn't fathom how quickly trust had been shattered, how easily loyalty had been discarded. Then came another bombshell. While reviewing old messages, Travis discovered evidence suggesting the affair had started earlier than he realized, and possibly included others trying to manipulate his personal and professional life. The shock and horror were almost too much to bear. He realized that the betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a carefully constructed web of lies meant to destabilize him, to embarrass him, and perhaps even endanger his career. The revelation made his blood run cold. Travis decided he needed professional advice. He reached out to a trusted mentor, someone who had seen the highs and lows of fame and could offer perspective. "Travis," the mentor said, voice calm but firm, "you need to control what you can. Confront the lies, protect your family, and don't let this consume you. But also, be prepared, this is going public and you need to manage it before it spirals out of control." Travis nodded. But deep down, he knew controlling the narrative would be nearly impossible. The scandal had already taken on a life of its own. The emotional toll was immense. Travis felt betrayed, humiliated, and cornered, yet he also felt a strange sense of clarity. The storm forced him to confront truths he had ignored, to face the reality of who he could trust, and to decide what kind of future he wanted. He realized he couldn't change the past, but he could shape the next steps. The drama, the heartbreak, and the betrayal had created a defining moment in his life, one that would test every ounce of his resilience and courage as night fell. Travis sat alone in his home, replaying the events of the past days. The confrontation, the accusations, the emotional breakdowns, they all swirled together in a dizzying haze. He thought about his family, his teammates, and the fans who had supported him through everything. The question that haunted him most was simple yet devastating. Could trust ever be rebuilt? Or was this the beginning of the end? The uncertainty gnawed at him. A relentless reminder that life had changed forever. The following days were a nightmare for Travis. News outlets somehow caught wind of the locker room confrontation, and suddenly his private life became public entertainment. Fans were shocked, hashtags trended, and social media exploded with speculation, memes, and videos dissecting every moment. Some people called Travis a victim, a hero standing up for himself. Others questioned his choices, saying maybe he pushed too hard, too fast. The scrutiny was relentless. Travis tried to focus on football, but every practice was a reminder of the betrayal. Teammates avoided his gaze, whispering behind his back. And rumors swirled that more players had been involved than he initially thought. The locker room, once a sanctuary, had turned into a battlefield of distrust. His mentor's words echoed in his mind. Control what you can, but how could he? When even the people he trusted seemed to be conspiring against him? His wife, meanwhile, became the center of a social media storm. Friends, family, and strangers alike criticized her, some mercilessly. She tried to reach out to Travis, but he refused to speak to her directly. Instead, he watched from a distance, observing how her world crumbled alongside his. The emotions ran high whenever they crossed paths. Anger, hurt, shame, and an undeniable sense of betrayal. Travis realized that the family was now fractured in a way that might never heal. One evening, Travis received a mysterious message from an anonymous source claiming they had evidence that could expose the full extent of the betrayal. The note read, "You don't know the whole story. Meet me at the stadium alone at midnight." Travis felt a chill run down his spine. Part of him wanted to ignore it, to stay away from more drama. But curiosity and the desire for the truth won. He decided to go. As he arrived at the stadium under the cover of darkness, the shadows seemed thicker, heavier. He heard a faint voice calling his name. Stepping forward, he found a figure emerging from the shadows, another teammate he hadn't suspected, someone he considered a friend. "Travis, you need to hear this," the teammate said urgently. "There's more going on than you realize. It wasn't just her and him. Others were involved. This was planned, manipulated. They wanted to destabilize you." Travis's heart raced. Betrayal upon betrayal, it seemed endless. Why? Travis asked, his voice trembling. Why would anyone do this? The teammate hesitated, then said, "Jealousy, rivalry, money, influence, control. They saw an opportunity to ruin you, and they took it. You've been set up." Travis felt a wave of anger and disbelief. The emotional weight was crushing. He thought about every interaction over the past months, every handshake, every smile that now seemed like a lie. The world he had trusted was collapsing. The next day, Travis called an emergency meeting with the core members of the team. Emotions ran high as he laid out everything he knew. Accusations flew, voices were raised, and the locker room became a storm of chaos. "I trusted you. We are supposed to be a family," Travis shouted, pacing back and forth. Some teammates avoided eye contact, others tried to explain, but the tension was palpable. The betrayal wasn't isolated, it was systemic. And Travis realized he was at the center of a web he hadn't even seen before. Meanwhile, his wife reached out again, this time in person. She appeared at his doorstep, desperate, crying, begging for forgiveness. "Travis, please, I made a mistake. I can fix this. I swear," she said. Travis stood silently, the storm of emotions raging inside him. "Fix it? You can't fix betrayal," he said softly, almost to himself. "Do you understand what you've done? Not just to me, but to everyone around us." She dropped to her knees, begging, pleading. But Travis could barely see her through the fog of hurt and anger. Friends tried to intervene, urging Travis to consider forgiveness, to think about the future. One close friend said, "Maybe she's remorseful, Travis. Maybe you can rebuild this for the kids, for your family." Travis shook his head violently. Rebuild? How do you rebuild trust when it's been shattered into 1,000 pieces? When every glance, every word, every touch is a reminder of betrayal? He felt the weight of their words. But the anger and hurt overpowered any notion of reconciliation. As the scandal unfolded publicly, fans began speculating wildly. Rumors of secret rendezvous, private messages, and hidden recordings surfaced online. Some claimed Travis's wife had been planning this for months. Others suggested the teammate had been manipulating the situation from the beginning. The emotional intensity reached a fever pitch. And Travis realized that every move he made would be scrutinized, dissected, and criticized. The pressure was suffocating. Then came another shocking revelation. A friend close to Travis's wife confessed that she had been pressured by another family member to pursue the affair, to manipulate Travis, and to create chaos. Travis couldn't believe what he was hearing. Betrayal upon betrayal, it seemed there was no end. He felt trapped, surrounded by lies, deception, and heartbreak. The family he once relied upon was crumbling around him, and the future seemed more uncertain than ever. Desperate for clarity, Travis decided to gather everyone involved, friends, teammates, family, and even neutral parties to confront the truth once and for all. The meeting was tense, emotional, and explosive. Accusations flew like bullets, voices cracked with anger and hurt, and the room seemed ready to explode. Travis's face was a mask of fury and heartbreak as he demanded answers, explanations, and accountability. Every revelation added fuel to the fire, exposing hidden agendas, secret alliances, and long-buried resentments. During the confrontation, one of the previously quiet teammates finally spoke up. "Travis, I didn't know how to say it before, but the whole situation was bigger than you think. She wasn't acting alone. Others were involved, and it was meant to make you look weak, vulnerable, and distracted. It was a setup. Travis's jaw tightened. Betrayal upon betrayal was endless. The emotional toll was overwhelming. And he realized that his life had been infiltrated by deceit on multiple levels. As the meeting ended, Travis felt exhausted, emotionally drained, and more determined than ever. He realized that he needed to take control of the situation, not just for himself, but for the people who truly mattered. He knew that confronting the lies, protecting his family, and reclaiming his life would require courage, strength, and resilience. The stakes were higher than ever, and the path forward was uncertain. The drama wasn't over, it had only intensified. And the fallout would continue to ripple through his life in ways no one could predict. The days following, stadium confrontation felt like a living nightmare for Travis. Everywhere he turned, reminders of the betrayal haunted him. Social media posts exploded with rumors and speculations. Fans were shocked, some cheering for his courage, others cruelly mocking the personal turmoil he was enduring. News outlets ran sensationalized headlines, portraying the scandal as a dramatic locker room showdown that threatened to shake the sports world to its core. Travis felt like he was living in a fishbowl, every moment scrutinized, every move judged. His wife, meanwhile, seemed to oscillate between remorse and defiance. She reached out repeatedly, trying to explain, begging, crying, and pleading for a chance to make things right. Travis, however, was exhausted. The emotional toll was immense, and he realized that forgiveness would not come easily, if at all. Every memory of her betrayal lingered, each one a reminder of the trust shattered and the life that had been upended. The family was divided, the children confused, and friends struggling to stay neutral amid the chaos. One evening, Travis received another shocking message. This time it was from a source claiming to have video evidence of the affair, including interactions he had never known about. The thought of it made his stomach churn. He debated whether to see it, fearing the emotional devastation it would bring. Yet part of him knew he needed to face the truth fully, no matter how painful. He arranged a private meeting to obtain the footage, knowing that once he saw it, nothing could undo the damage. The video revealed not only the affair but manipulations that were even more sinister than he imagined. There were moments where his wife and teammate had plotted together, intentionally misleading him, and even hints of attempts to manipulate other team members against him. The betrayal ran deeper than he had feared. A calculated scheme that went beyond personal desire and crossed into psychological manipulation. The realization made his blood boil, and yet in a strange way, gave him clarity. He knew the full extent of what he was dealing with. Travis decided it was time for a public statement. He called a press conference, emotions running high, heart pounding with a mix of rage, hurt, and resolve. As cameras flashed and microphones were placed, he stepped forward. "I have been betrayed," he said, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of feelings inside. "Not just by someone I loved, but by someone I trusted and by those I considered family. The truth is painful, but it cannot remain hidden." The room went silent, reporters hanging on his every word. During the press conference, he recounted parts of the betrayal, carefully choosing words that balanced honesty with dignity. He acknowledged the personal pain, the emotional turmoil, and the impact on his family. Yet he also made it clear that he would not let the scandal define him. "I am determined to move forward, to protect my integrity, and to rebuild trust where it can be rebuilt. The choices of others have created chaos, but they will not destroy me." Fans were shocked. Emotions ran high, and social media exploded once again, this time with support, admiration, and renewed interest in the unfolding drama. Even after the public statement, the private battles continued. Travis confronted his wife directly, demanding accountability and clarity. "You need to explain everything," he said, voice firm, eyes blazing. She looked at him, tears streaming down her face, and whispered, I never meant to hurt you this much. I was confused, pressured, and I made terrible choices." Travis shook his head, struggling to reconcile the person he loved with the person who had betrayed him so deeply. Choices. This isn't about choices. This is about trust, loyalty, and respect. You destroyed what I thought was unbreakable. Friends and family tried to mediate, but emotions ran high. Every interaction charged with tension. Some sided with Travis, others tried to justify her actions. And the children struggled to understand why their world had turned upside down. The family was fractured, divided into camps of hurt, guilt, and confusion. Every day felt like walking through a minefield, where one wrong word could ignite another explosion of anger and sorrow. Then came an unexpected twist. Another teammate stepped forward, confessing that he had been manipulated into keeping quiet, but now felt compelled to support Travis publicly. He revealed messages and evidence that corroborated Travis's claims, exposing the full extent of the scheming. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the narrative began to shift. The betrayal was no longer a private matter. It was a complex web of deceit that involved multiple players, all operating in secret to destabilize Travis. With mounting evidence and the public now aware of the situation, Travis began to reclaim control. He decided to focus on his career, his children, and the friends who had remained loyal. The emotional scars were deep, but he realized that moving forward required strength, clarity, and resilience. He set boundaries with his wife, limited contact with those who had betrayed him, and began rebuilding the relationships that had been damaged. The process was slow, painful, and fraught with setbacks. But he remained determined to rise above the chaos. As the scandal continued to unfold, fans speculated about the future. Would Travis forgive? Would he remain with his wife? How would this affect his team and career? Every twist and revelation kept the audience captivated, emotions running high and social media buzzing with opinions. The drama had reached epic proportions, with no clear resolution in sight. Travis had become not just a player, but a symbol of resilience, betrayal, and the fight to reclaim one's life from chaos. In the final moments of Part 4, Travis stood alone in his home, looking out the window at the city below. The storm had passed, the rain had stopped, but the emotional tempest inside him remained. He thought about what had been lost, what had been revealed, and what could still be rebuilt. He knew the journey was far from over, but he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The betrayal had tested him, but it had also revealed his strength. The next steps would define the rest of his life, and Travis was determined to face them head-on, no matter the cost. The chapter closed with Viz making a silent vow to protect his integrity, to rebuild trust where possible, and to never let betrayal define him again. The family was still divided, the team still tense, and the public still watching, but Travis had reclaimed his narrative. The storm of deceit, manipulation, and heartbreak had reached its peak, leaving behind a trail of emotional wreckage, but also a glimmer of hope. He knew that the coming days would demand courage, wisdom, and resilience, and he was ready to face whatever came next. And there you have it, the full story of Travis Hunter. Betrayal and heartbreak that has left fans around the world stunned. From the shocking discovery of his wife's affair with his own teammate, to the escalating drama, confrontations, and public scandals, this saga has had it all. Anger, tears, shocking revelations, and emotions running higher than ever. The family was left divided, friendships strained, and the locker room never the same again. Every twist and turn has kept fans on the edge of their seats, debating, speculating, and reacting non-stop. What makes this story so compelling is not just the betrayal itself, but how Travis responded. He faced the chaos head-on, demanded the truth, and refused to let lies define him. While the scandal exposed deep wounds, it also revealed his strength, resilience, and determination to reclaim his life. But questions still remain. Will he forgive? Can trust ever be rebuilt? How will this affect his career and personal life moving forward? Fans are desperate for answers, and the drama shows no signs of slowing down. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Should Travis give his wife another chance, or is the betrayal too deep to ever recover from? How should he handle the teammate who shattered his trust? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this explosive story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more jaw-dropping reality drama, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. The world of scandal, betrayal, and emotional chaos is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a single shocking moment. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger and far more dramatic than fiction.